This is pretty exciting because we are in our son's future bedroom and today is drywall day. So we're going to be doing some compounding and hopefully getting like literally all the seams in this room covered today. Maybe not the corners. We're changing that up a bit because of our techniques and all that. But anyway, all the major seams that we need to get done, I want them done today. So that's the goal. We like setting goals because having goals is how you achieve things. Yeah. If you want to move forward, set a goal. So try to set a goal today and stick to it, get it done. It doesn't have to be a big goal, just have direction. It's good to have direction in life. So we're going to be working with a fiberglass mesh tape today. Some of you guys asked in a previous video, why didn't you use tape on your seams? I had actually used this, but it's very hard to see, and I taped all my seams prior to the video, and that's why you guys didn't see it go on. But I also prefer to use, and I'm used to using paper tape. I'm going to demonstrate both today. So let's start with the fiberglass tape. I'm no pro at this, but I'm going to show you how to apply the tape, both types of tape, from a DIY kind of noob perspective. So this fiberglass mesh, it's actually slightly tacky, and you just put it on before the compound. Just put it right on the seam and it sticks. So I'm going to stop here just so I can do both of this wall. And to rip it, you can cut it, but I usually just put my knife on it and tear it against the knife. Pretty easy. So there it is, taped. So now that the tape is on the wall, we can just cover it with the drywall compound. And since the drywall has a tapered edges, it'll fill right in. Oh. So I'm just trying to kind of fill that void. Anyway, that's it. So that's the first coat. There it is, fiberglass tape. Pretty quick and easy, actually. Paper tape, you got to put the compound on first. And it moves a lot. There's no screw right here.
Yeah.
How do we miss a screw?
I don't know.
Okay. So just smooth out like a thin layer of compound on the seam. Take the paper tape and put it right on the seam. Sometimes if I don't know where the seam is, I'll just feel it with the edge of my blade. You can make a line. It kind of helps me line it up. So I'm putting it right on the center. And then from the middle, kind of from the middle, just squish it out. And I push pretty hard. I think some people are afraid to squeeze out too much compound. You don't have to be. Go ahead and squeeze it out. If anything, leaving too much compound under the paper can make the paper lift off later. I don't know why. I just have better success with keeping it thin underneath. And again, we just fill it up on top. Filling in the valley. I like using this wider knife because you can really
span the whole taper.
And you can see where that indent is just because it fills it so nicely. And for your first coat, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just getting it good enough for now. But you'll notice that like the harder you push on these blades, since they're flexible, if you're at an angle and you're pushing hard, you're going to be scooping it out of the valley. And you know, the more upright you go, the less you're scooping out, but it's flexible, so you're always going to scoop some out. I find that if you just kind of lay it really flat, you kind of skim it across the top. You're not scooping out, you're smoothing out. But I like to scrape it, especially on the first coat, just because I want clean edges. You can see how flat your wall's getting just by putting the blade across it. If you see light coming through, you can see here it's like dead flat. We filled up the valley pretty good, but it needs a little more. Anyway, it just takes time and practice, and I'm not that good at it. If you guys want to really learn how to do drywall, there's probably like thousands of videos of people who know what they're doing and do it way better than me. This is just I'm just a total DIY, knowing the basics. I know enough to get it done good enough, right?
Yeah.
And it usually takes me 2 coats if I'm going to be doing our paper technique, because it's really hiding. If I'm going to be painting, I usually end up doing like 4 coats, I would say, because I'm just that, you know, it takes me a while to get it right. But that's all there is to it, pretty basic. I don't think I have a preference between the paper and the fiberglass. I like the paper tape. It feels like a better seal to me. I'm afraid of the fiberglass. But it does save time, especially on the ceiling, where you don't have to put compound tape, smooth it, compound. This is a lot easier.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about dropping as much compound.
Yeah.
Because you can just stick it up there.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's a big mess. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the room. And what?
I don't know. And hopefully we're done today with the first coat. Really observant and seems like he always wants to be hands-on. Oh, look at him. He's putting it on the tape he put on the wall.
Can you do more on there?
Making it nice and smooth. Good job. Like a pro, Belle.
Yep.
Perfect.
We're making quick progress on the room. We got all the seams done, and that looks really awesome. Belle did most of the screw heads. I guess still do the ceiling. Yeah, but before we do that, we're gonna go ahead and put our L bead on. An L bead is just a type of drywall trim piece to cap the end of the wall here. And we're doing that because we got this little cove, and this is actually built so that we can put a wooden post in here. We're gonna be putting a 4x4 beam sticking up here just for decoration. Typically, you can glue these on the wall or just staple them on. But I'm gonna go ahead and put some compound under them. I found that this works good for me. Other than get my stapler covered in compound, which you'll see in a minute. Now we're just embedding it in. I could almost just leave it like that, but I don't want it to move while I'm smoothing it, so I'm going to try to pop some staples in it. You got to be careful with an air stapler like this because it'll tend to, you can break through the plastic easily. These are actually easy to cover because they got a little ridge on them, and your tool just rides on that little ridge right there. You just fill it in. But typically, most people would never need these. One more thing I want to show you guys. Right here is a mistake that we made, and that is that there was a staple sticking out of the ceiling, and we didn't know that when we were putting up the drywall. We thought we cleared them all. This was just from the old ceiling that was here. And what happened was when we screwed the drywall up, it pushed the drywall down and made a big bulge in it. So all I did was cut away the drywall with my knife and pulled it out. All the stuff that was broken. So this is all solid now. You can see that's the staple right there. To fix that, I'm going to be using this Guard's Problem Surface Sealer. What this is going to do is soak into the drywall and the paper and make it really hard, and it'll take away all that crumbliness that drywall tends to have. Once that dries, we'll come back to it, we'll fill it with some compound, and we'll finish it up. Now that that is dry, you can see all this stuff, it won't crumble anymore. It's very hard, and that's really awesome, because that stuff is really hard to cover when it's always powdery and flaking off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fill it in now, and this is gonna dry, it's gonna shrink, so it's gonna suck in, probably crack. So I'm just gonna leave it and let it do that. After that's dry, I'll put a little more on with some paper to strengthen it, cover it over, it'll be all done. So it is a new day today, and everything's looking really good in here. It's drying up nicely. I did go ahead and put some more compound on this seam, along the top there because I forgot, and on the inside here, and then I kind of gave up. I also put some paper over this after drying overnight, and I put some more compound on it, so that's drying. So a little later today, I am going to go through and do more compound on these seams. I'm not going to worry about it right now though. And Ashley and I have been really thinking about Maverick's room, trying to get a plan together. And we do have something that we picked up for Maverick's room, the beginning of the design. We found this rug recently at the store. This was from a discount store. And we really liked it. So we grabbed it for Maverick's room. So this is the first piece that we're going to go with. And since we picked up this rug, we have a color. We have a base color to start with.
And this is wool.
Yeah, we grabbed it because we've been really trying to stick with natural materials in our home. And this is 100%, well except for this, it's all wool fiber. So it's real wool, and we like that. It's going to shed a lot and make a lot of mess. But we'd rather have this in our house than a plastic rug. I don't know, we're trying to have less plastic. We also grabbed this little rug right here, and this has letters all over it. Let me get out of the way. This one's kind of fun. We grabbed this because Maverick really loved it. He wanted it, so we said, okay, let's grab it. It was pretty cheap. I don't know if this is going to end up in his bedroom though, probably not. because this one's going to dominate.
But we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
I really like the color of this blue.
Yeah. It's blue with a, like a gray silver design in it. So we're not going to do a lot of design, just like Belle's room. We keep it really simple, white walls and everything. We didn't add a lot of color except for this, and we let her bring in her own color here. You can see Belle did some new art right there. She also has some odds and ends, a butterfly she found, and the giant bone that she found. She's kind of weird.
Skull in a case.
That's the skull we found when we were gutting the bathroom or the kitchen. The kitchen. And I'll show this while we're in here. You can see Belle and Ashley decorated with these little paper crafts. And these were actually sent to us by somebody last year.
Yeah.
So these were a gift. And they put them together and glued them and hung them up here. This looks really cool. So that's fun. I don't know if we're going to stick with this color throughout the room, but this is the base. This is what we're starting with, blue and silver. It gives us some ideas. We really like it. It's probably not the rug that we would have picked if we had any choice.
But I think it's really good.
But we were staying on a budget, and for a wool rug this size, 5x8, I think we got a really good price on it.
Yeah.
It was either this or really ugly ones.
Yeah.
Are you getting cozy?
He's gonna love it.
We decided to go with this route because these denim rugs, they're fun, but they're very bumpy and hard, and they're not fun to play on. So this is really cushy and soft. We also stayed up like way too late last night just thinking about ideas and looking on House. If anybody does like house interior design, House is a great resource. HOUZZ.
We've been looking at that for years.
Like since it came out, basically. It's kind of like, you know, if you grew up, I grew up kind of looking at house magazines, you know, because that's what my mom liked to look at, you know, and she looked at the country living and all that stuff, trying to get ideas, whatever. And, you know, this is basically the internet version of a house magazine now, and they have so many cool ideas. And if you look on there, it's going to be like high-end homes, like $1 million homes. And you might feel intimidated by that, but in those homes, there's still some great concepts.
Yeah.
And some great ideas that you can really get inspired. I can just get inspired looking at something, and it could be kind of unrelated, but it leads me to the idea that I'm coming for, or the colors that I want, or just something fun that I could do.
And there's all kinds of filters on there, depending on your house style or whatever.
So that's one of the resources that we use to get ideas, and we always save them to our idea books. You have an idea book on there, and you can save the photos so you can look at them later. It's really fun. But anyway, we stayed up really late. We got a couple of good ideas. I think we have a direction for Maverick's room now. Because
before we were like totally not knowing.
Yeah, because he's a baby still. And, you know, he likes things, but you don't really know what his thing is. You know, what would make him happy? What would make his room his own, you know? So, we're coming up with something. Yeah, so we're going to keep it short and simple. This is what we got done. We got done the compounding, and that's one step. And I'm going to keep working on that. I don't know how much of it I'll show, because I'm going to do that later today, and it's going to get boring and repetitive to keep showing me just putting layers on. Yeah. So I'll try to wrap that up by myself. Next step will be sealing, and hopefully doing the paper and all that stuff. That'll be fun.
And then the flooring.
Another thing I'll say before we go is we have a lot of toys like this in these totes, Legos mostly. They like to play with Legos. And speaking of Legos, we just found this giant tote at the thrift store. All that.
Plus more. It's scattered now.
Yeah. And I try not to waste money, but it was a really good price. And you don't often see Lego totes at the thrift store, so I grabbed them for them. I want to put all this in Maverick's room because Belle just doesn't need all this in her room, and it gets to be a mess in here, especially with him playing.
His room would just be more suitable for that stuff, and they can both just play in there.
So we're planning on actually picking up a couple of shelves. I know I could build shelves, but we're going to buy a couple of shelves to put all these totes on, so that's going to be in there too.
Yeah.
So we have that plan. toy storage, a rug to play on. It's gonna be like the playroom. A lot of you guys ask, like, are we gonna build cabinets for the kitchen, stuff like that, or that we should build our own, suggesting. Building stuff isn't that incredibly hard. Sometimes I struggle, but like I could build cabinets, I could build shelves. We don't have a clean barn to work in, and we don't have any place to finish stuff. And it's so cold out, you can't do stuff outside. Finish work is the hard work. Getting a good, like, you know, you can paint stuff, but paint is always like sticky and tacky and gross and gets dirty. I hate painting shelving. Getting a nice finish on wood is kind of tough, and if you don't have a good place to do it. So if I can buy pre-made cabinets or shelving for a fair price, I'd rather just do that because they have a nice finish and it's just easier. But we'll see. Take it as it comes.
Yeah, we're not getting like MDF stuff. It's gonna be solid plywood and.
Yeah, we always try to look for kind of real wood or plywood. Anyway, we're rambling, so.
I think people like when we ramble though.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Just wanted to give you guys this quick update. And that's all we have for now. So until next time, take care.
Bye.
Bye.